Welcome to Maisha Special Report. My name is Bushabi Jr. President William Ruto has signed into law the finance bill that was approved by the National Assembly last week. Officials said he signed the bill into law on Monday morning at State House in Nairobi. The controversial bill was passed during a stormy session largely boycotted by the opposition. Opposition leader Raila Odinga has vowed to lead mass protests after a public rally in Kamkunji is set for Tuesday.
As many of that contrary opinion say nay.
President William Ruto on Monday morning pinned his signature to the finance bill that was approved by the National Assembly.
It's a skull in the offing like the golden bag.
According to State House official, the head of state signed the bill into law on Monday morning at State House, Nairobi. The controversial bill was passed during a stormy season, largely boycotted by the opposition.
The court will tell us whether that finance bill is legitimate and legal or not. So those who are celebrating, they better withhold their celebration.
There were 87 proposed amendments to some of which were approved on Tuesday as the National Assembly debated them late into the night.
As many of that contrary opinion say nay.
Among the most important proposals approved was a 16% value-added tax on gasoline, up from 8%. Except for Githunguri MP Gathoni wa Muchomba, at least 184 MPs, mostly from Kenya Kwanza, supported the bill, while 88 MPs, mostly Azimio, opposed the amendment.
They used their numbers to pass it. They used their numbers against the interest of the ordinary Kenyan, because they are using what they believe is a tyranny of numbers in the National Assembly. The
contentious housing levy, which had initially proposed to be at 3%, was also passed after it was amended to 1.5% of gross pay. It has been the initial proposal called for the levy to be a saving account that Kenyans could access after 7 years. Digital creators will be subjected to a 5% tax. This figure was originally proposed to be 15%. Betting and insurance withholding taxes will be charged at 12.5%, 16% respectively. Executive, which comprises ministries, department agencies, will receive the bulk of the allocation of 2.16 trillion Kenya shillings. Parliament, which comprises National Assembly and Senate, will receive a total of 40.4 billion Kenya shillings. Judiciary has been allocated the least amount of money at 22.99 billion Kenya shillings. The 47 counties will receive 385.4 billion Kenya shillings as part of the shareable revenue. Other expenditure items as the Consolidated Fund Service. Consolidated Fund Service has been allocated a total of 1.836 trillion Kenya shillings, taking the total spending in the financial year 2023-2024 to 4.45 trillion Kenya shillings. The 2023-2024 budget was prepared in an environment of high inflation owing to the several shocks that have lit the country's economy. The biggest shock has been a crippling drought, the worst in 40 years. The drought has depressed harvest and pushed up food prices, with inflation rate remaining outside of the upper bound target of 7% for the last 12 months to June.
We have time to build a new foundation of our economy.
The high cost of living has also been aggravated by a weaker shilling, which is exchanging at a record low of 139.7 shilling against the dollar. Central banks in advanced economies have also increased interest rates, triggering capital flights from frontier and emerging economies such as Kenya.
Hiyo msingi wa madeni lazima tuibadilishe. Badala ya kuwa na msingi wa uchumi wa madeni, tuwe na msingi wa uchumi wetu ambao umesimamia ushuru ambayo sisi tunakusanya kama wa Kenya.
High interest rates have also made it difficult for the country to borrow markets to finance its budget.
We have built our economy on the basis of debt. That is why we are paying 1.4 trillion shillings every year to debt. We have to change that foundation so that we, instead of building our economy on the basis of debt, we want to build our economy on the basis of our own revenues.
For Maisha Prime, Maisha Television, my name is Mary Magdalene Nekesa.
Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition now says it will seek direction on the way forward from the public on Tuesday. The coalition announced the consultative meeting with the people at the Kamukunji grounds that will feature, among other issues, the government's rejection to reconsider some proposals in the now passed finance bill and signed into law, the VAT increment on petroleum products, which they said will push up the cost of living.
Barely 6 hours after it became apparent that Kenya Kwanza Finance Bill 2023 sailed through,
We are fighting for your people. We are fighting for these hustlers who gave you power.
former Prime Minister Raila Odinga's Azimio coalition on Thursday, June 22nd, addressed the nation.
We say pole to the millions of Kenyans who are struggling to come to terms with this harsh reality. We know many of you think this is a nightmare that will probably fizzle out. Unfortunately, it is here with us and here to stay unless we act now.
In a move seen to demonstrate rejection of the bill, Azimio Brigade listed their next course of action. In a statement read by NARC Kenya Party leader Martha Karua, the coalition informed Kenyans that it will hold a public engagement forum on Tuesday, June 27, 2023 at Kamukunji grounds in Nairobi to discuss the Finance Bill 2023 and the national budget.
We have decided to invite Kenyans to a consultation at the Kamukunji grounds next Tuesday, the 27th of June at 10 a.m., where the next course of action will be decided. Whenever, as a people, we have come together, we have always found a solution even to our worst problems. This time will be no different. We believe that in the end, it is the people's voices that will prevail.
The team of Azimio la Umoja Politburo, including Raila, Kalonzo Musyoka, and other financial experts, promised to attend the forum to debunk the tax hikes.
We saw what happens when a rogue and uncaring executive branch of government decides that the only thing that matters is their ego and their agenda. We have learned the hard way that this illegitimate regime can ignore the people, their feelings, their fears, their circumstances, their hopes and aspirations, and force its agenda on the people. That is what Ruto and his Kenya Kwanza followers did with the passage of the Finance Bill 2023. They ignored the wishes of the majority of Kenyans, and this signals the era of dictatorship.
Azimio la Umoja stated that members of the public will be granted the opportunity to ask questions and share their views on the controversial finance bill. According to the coalition, the public forum is part of Azimio la Umoja's efforts to engage with the public on key economic issues as well as whether to return to national-wide protests. The coalition reiterated that it will push the current regime to ensure that the finance bill and the national budget reflects the need of Kenyans.
This time will be no different. We believe that in the end, it is the people's voices that will prevail. After members of parliament voted to endorse Finance Bill 2023, the roadblocks by the opposition to stop the bill seemed to head to legal redress against mass protests. Azimio la Umoja claimed that the Finance Bill 2023 will lead to hyperinflation as food prices will skyrocket, hence the need to oppose it vehemently. Where there has been inflation, we must now prepare for hyperinflation. With the new raft of taxes approved yesterday, especially the fuel tax, we must prepare that even the little that remained of our monies will simply vanish. To our MPs who fought gallantly for the people in these times of difficulty, we salute you and we celebrate you. We believe Kenyans do too. We celebrate the fact that whereas the regime had said not even a comma would be removed from the bill, our MPs, while pushing for the millions of Kenyans, were able to force the regime to accept not one, not two, but several amendments.
The bill passed after a third reading by the National Assembly Finance and National Planning Committee Chairman Kuria Kimani. It will now be said to the President to accept for the proposals to become law. This now means Kenyans will have to dig deeper into their pockets to fund Ruto's first budget as head of state. At least 184 MPs, largely from Kenya Kwanza, supported the bill, save for Gichunguri MP Gathoni wa Muchomba, whereas 88 MPs, largely from Azimio, opposed the amendments.
Even at 16% is still the lowest. Uganda being at 18% on fuel. Our friends in Tanzania, Rwanda, also at 18%, Honorable Speaker. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, we did promise in the campaign that we will reduce taxes and reduction of taxes on fuel, Honorable Speaker. It is true that there have been reductions on taxes on fuel. The chair has enumerated the railway development levy that has gone down. IDF has gone down. And those are taxes and levies on fuel, just as President William Ruto promised during the presidential debate, Honorable Speaker.
Your fuel in Uganda and Tanzania is higher than Kenya, when he knows very well that fuel is cheaper in Uganda and Tanzania by far, Madam Chair. By far, Madam Chair. When he knows.
In a response to the declarations by Azimio Coalition, Trade and Investment CS Moses Kuria has dared the opposition coalition leaders to go ahead and stage the anti-finance bill protests. Speaking on Thursday, Kuria said protests are not a preserve of Azimio leaders, only adding that they will equally stage theirs to back the bill.
Demonstration is not a monopoly of someone. They can demonstrate against it. We're going to demonstrate for. Kwani they own the streets, we can also go to those streets. Tutakutana huko.
Watarudi kwa barabara siku ya Jumanne, tumewakaribisha. Hakuna shida. Si barabara ziko tu, kuna bahali zimeenda. Kuna bahali zimeenda. Bora tu wasiharibu mali ya Mkenya. Hiyo tu. Hiyo no go zone.
Tuache tabia ya kufikiria kuna Samson kwa sababu hatukupata, tuvunje nyumba, tuharibu uchumi, fanya maandamano kwa sababu hatukupata. Hiyo ni hadithi ya Samson. Let us be responsible citizens, tusaidie taifa letu.
For Maisha Television, my name is Mary Magdalene Nekesa.
Members of county assemblies have vowed to stay put until the Salary and Remuneration Commission reinstates their salaries and benefits. MCAs countrywide have vowed that they will not approve county budgets until their demands are met, threatening to paralyze operations and service delivery in the devolved units. They have also hit at Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua for asking them to pay, as the government has no money to review their pay.
Even after the government promised that the National Treasury will this week release money on to counties for the month of April.
The National Treasury has given a commitment with no guarantees.
Nyamira County Assembly became the latest county to postpone its sitting for an indefinite period.
Tumeenda kwa likizo ambayo haijulikani tutarudi lini, sababu ya kwamba ile serikali na wale watu wako kwa serikali wamekataa kusikia mambo yetu. Tulikutana kama MCAs Kenya yote, tukawapa masiku 14 watimize hayo, lakini wamekataa kusikiza.
The move was taken by county legislators in solidarity with all county assemblies in the country who are on strike to push for an increase in salaries and ward welfare fund.
They are overtaxed. When you get the 30% tax out of it, it's 31,000. Why are they lying to us?
Mshahara yetu ilikatwa nusu. MCA ndio mtu wako mashinani. MCA ndio mtu wako na mwananchi. Ukiamuka mwananchi wako kwa mlango. The youths wako kwa mlango. Na wote wanahitaji kusaidiwa kutoka kwa MCA.
Meanwhile, Kajiado County Assembly has also voted to support the motion to suspend all activities of the County Assembly for a period of 1 month. This action aims to pressure the government to take the money withdrawn from their salaries, saying that what they are currently receiving is completely incompatible with the services they provide.
Because today, if we cannot
sitting, I'm talking of sitting allowance because who is your son here?
Sisi kama MCAs hakuna mtu ambaye anaweza taka kuonyeshana payslip yake kwa sababu tayari imenyongwa na imeisha kabisa. Zingine zinaenda hata na sufuri. Kama kuna kitu iko chini ya sufuri ingekuwa chini ya sufuri.
We have adjourned as an assembly unity of all other county assemblies in the nation under the fight of our rights as members of county assemblies kwa minajili ya mishahara, the autonomy of the assembly and also the remuneration better.
Na tungependa pia kuona kwamba pesa za ugatuzi, pesa za madarasa, pesa za barabara zipewe katika wodi ili tuweze kufanya kazi kama waheshimiwa. It is not political, we have no parties, we have nothing. It is just a matter of unity of purpose towards the welfare of an association. Na ujue slogan yetu ni MCAs deserve better.
The motion presented by the majority leader in the National Assembly, John Lemaia Loisa, wants the assembly to suspend its activities until July 6th.
It is very easy for you to point fingers at other people, but whenever you are pointing a finger at someone, you should always remember that there are 4 that are pointing backwards.
Nakuru County Assembly closed business as well as MCAs boycotted sittings over the push for better remuneration.
Kama watu haoni why we are crying because life has become unbearable. Yani sisi tumefanywa maskini kiasi cha kwamba hata kufikiria inakuwa ngumu. Kwa hivyo Salaries and Remuneration Commission, nyinyi msiwe mnakula kuku na sisi mtufanye tukule kama kuku. Hata Mungu hata wasikiza. Kwa secretary, buke zote 47 zitakuwa zinafuga. Tutafuga. Na wanafuga kwa sababu hata mtu hawezi nunua kiatu, watoto wako hawaendi shule, watu ndio hao wamekuja kwako, wanakuambia mheshimiwa tusaidie, huwezi. Sasa sisi tumekuwa maskini. Mtu hata anashindwa sana kutembea kwa kanisa. Sisi nawaambia ukiona tumekoda hivi, macho imetoka nje. Si kusema ati nini, hapana, shida imeingia mpaka kwa masikio inatoka nje. Wajiko elewa ya kwamba, Wajiko elewa Karaja jako harambee, siwezi.
Our clamor is, can we restate the salary back to where it was? Because the economy and the inflation has gone high. So let it be very clearly understood by the members of the public and any other person.
People who are closest to Wanjiko, and Wanjiko sit to us every day to solve their problems. Most of them are informal problems, and some of them are formal problems to satisfy your own basic needs.
The 75-member House on Tuesday unanimously passed a motion to adjourn the sitting indefinitely in a bid to air their grievances. The MCAs say they will continue to agitate for an increase of their salaries from the current 86,000 Kenya shillings to the previous 165,000 Kenya shillings, which was slashed on directive from the Salaries and Remuneration Commission.
If you look at the payslip of an MCA, tax is 82,000. Salary is 86,000. So even the small fringe benefits we get, they are overtaxed. When you get the 30% tax out of it, it's 31,000. Why are they lying to us?
Mshahara yetu ilikatwa nusu.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, after chairing the Intergovernmental Budget Economic Council at his current residence, said governors have an obligation to back the Finance Bill 2023 if they expect the national government to disburse monies owed to counties.
Will be disbursed.
The DP said that money owed for the month of April will be disbursed by June 19th. The money owed for the month of May will be disbursed.
We have further agreed that by 19th of June, the money owed the counties for the month of May will be disbursed.
He added that the National Treasury had given a commitment with no guarantees that it will do everything possible to try to raise the money for the month of June. If it is not possible, we'll ask the governors to bear with the situation.
That we shall do whatever is possible to try to raise the money for June before the end of the financial year. But if that is not possible, the counties have been requested to bear with us.
Kakamega Governor Fernandez Barasa, who chairs the Finance Committee in the Council of Governors, had expressed concern over the delayed disbursement of funds to the counties.
We want to appeal to the National Treasury to expedite release of monies owed to counties. Hivi sasa we still owe almost 64.5 billion Kenya shillings. That is 33.3 billion for the month of April and almost 31.45 billion for the month of May. Vile tulikubaliana, waziri ambaye anasimamia mambo ya pesa, you were supposed to release the disbursement for the month of April and May at least by the end of May. So we want to challenge you, please expedite disbursement of that money which is owed to the counties.
There is no single shilling county inadai national government. Last year walivuka na madeni ya counties. This year nimesema sivuki na deni ya mtu yeyote.
For Maisha Prime, Maisha Television, Amesh Msimbi.
The Senate Special Committee investigating the removal from the office of Siaya Deputy Governor William Oduor has completed its report for tabling it before a Senate special sitting for determination this Monday. The besieged Deputy Governor's fate now lies solely elected senators, requiring only 24 of them to retain his seat if the William Kisang-led committee upholds his impeachment. The outcome of the proceedings will set precedents on how to manage future impeachments of deputy governors and their relations with their governors.
Here we procure items worth 11 million furnitures outside the budget. To it, Mr. Speaker, we buy chairs, we buy presidential seats worth millions of shares.
Siaya County political cinema spilled and played in the Senate on Thursday when drama ensued after members of the committee formed to hear the impeachment case filed against Siaya Deputy Governor William Oduor took turns sitting on the 1.1 million chair he was accused of illegally procuring. The senators argued that they were testing its comfortability, meaning whether the 1 million shilling amount of money paid was financially justifiable.
The county had committed up to 18 million Kenya shillings for the personal comfort of an individual.
So you will find them on DG4,
yes,
pages 6 to 75.
So what you have is the requisitions.
These are sample requisitions. There are many more requisitions, but I just gave sample requisitions.
Yes, and the bank statements.
Yes.
Okay. So once the money has been withdrawn,
yes,
there must be then accounting documents which speaks to how they have been spent or allocated.
It should be, yeah, but that isn't obtained in our situation.
Did you submit those to the assembly?
Now, I asked, in fact, this...
Did you submit them to the assembly?
What? Submit what?
Oduor, when questioned by senators about the exorbitant cost, firmly denied any in procurement.
Chief Officer Governance and requested, and Jaco Dinga supplied them to me. Yes. So I did not get them through some dubious means.
Thank you.
The senators expressed their disappointments with the heavy price tag, especially since the chair lacked any unique features.
And where are they found in your document?
In his defense, Oduor apportioned blame to the county's procurement officer for authorizing the purchase of the chair and agreed that it was not worth the outrageous amount.
Up to 1.1 2 million Kenya shillings, one single chair.
In his defense, Odwal argued that the procurement officer must have been misled into believing that the chair possessed orthopedic benefits. Based on his own assessment, he concluded that the chair was a regular chair, ordinary seat without any exceptional qualities.
Have a look at this orthopedic.
Again, we must again be guided by the rules of natural justice. It is not that the county assembly is able to make its case as it goes on.
Orthopedic chairs are designed to properly support the spine and body and ensure one sits in the correct position. They can be adjusted to provide temporary positional relief to assuage pains and offer more comfort.
The multi-million chairs, would you like this committee to see them?
Yes, Your Honor, I think it will be important for us to actually...
He cited statements filed by other county officials who absolved him from the scandal, arguing that their affidavits were omitted from the presented evidence.
Mr. Chairman, the nature of my impeachment at the county assembly level was narrow, ill-informed, limited, misguided.
Senators, however, had pressed him to clarify if he investigated the procurement flaws or raised the alarm after realizing the seat was overvalued.
I am the proverbial hunter that has become the hunted. The drawing of political lines informs and oils the motivation behind the impeachment motion against me.
Odwal responded by claiming that he verbally asked for the invoice but was never provided with any relevant documents.
Freedom is coming home.
Members of Siaya County Assembly approved Odwal's impeachment motion on Monday, May 29th, a day after he was expelled from ODM for allegedly working in cohorts with Kenya Kwanza government to sabotage his boss James Orengo. The Senate will either uphold or nullify his ouster.
Further direct the committee to take cognizance of the provisions of Article 47 and 50 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 on fair administrative action and fair hearing respectively. The committee should also note the provisions of Standing Order number 71-8 read together with 72 of the County Assembly of Siaya, which in effect provides that Deputy Governor has the right to appear and be represented before the Special Committee during its investigations.
For Maisha Prime, Maisha Television, I'm Maisha Msimbi.
Non-governmental organization Woman for Woman on Friday distributed sanitary pads to no fewer than 300 schoolgirls of St. Anthony Mateka Secondary School in Bungoma County as a way of empowering children and keeping them in school. An event that also doubled up as a guiding and counseling session so students advised on drug abuse and early sex abstinence. The event was graced by the Deputy County Commissioner Madam Salim Abdallah and Maisha Television's Rida Chebet.
A non-governmental organization, Woman for Woman, on Friday distributed sanitary and schoolgirls of St. Anthony Mateka Secondary School located in Bumala constituency in Bungoma County as a way of empowering girl child and keeping them in school.
Hii unaweza utaenda kufua, unafua vizuri unanika juani, yani ikauke vyema, usitumie kama bado ina unyevu. Umesikia? Ikishakauka bado utaitumia. Bado tena utaitumia. Bora ufue vizuri, hygiene yako iwe nzuri.
Nerima Wekesa, the CEO, empathized with the girls. Some may not be able to afford the sanitary pads on their own and may have to miss coming to school throughout their menstruation periods because they have no proper way to manage hygiene.
Hivi, sisi tunawapenda sana. Sisi tunawapenda sana, ndiposa tumeanza na Mateka Secondary. Hii foundation Mwenyezi Mungu akitujalia tutakuja kuilaunch, inaitwa Woman for Woman. Ani angalabu tuanze kuwatia wanadada nguvu. Maana wanadada hao ndo walegevu sana, si ndio? Kitu kidogo tu amekosa sodo, anaenda hivi anadanganywa na chips ya 30 bob na soda ya 30, tayari amepotea. Amekosa socks, tayari amepotea.
She also called on teachers and students at large to be accommodative of girls who are on their periods and not make fun of them.
Kila mwezi wasichana wanaenda period, si ndio? Kwa hivyo ukiona amefikia hiyo stage, usianze kumkejeli, usianze kumwangalia huyu naye amekosa nini? Huyu mbona hata akiwa amejiendea kwenye sketi, kuwa na undugu, kuwa na utu. chukua fulana yako ama muulize una fulana ama tuma dada nini mwana dada mwenzake nenda kaangalia mwenzako manake huku nyuma si kwema. Achukue sweta. Sasa ukishaambiwa hivyo achukua fulana wamfunika. Usije kumchekelea kwa unakuwa ni makosa kwenda period, si ndio? Na kama labda hana sodo ambayo sanitary towel uenda mwalimu wa darasa ama mwalimu wa kike mwenye yupo mwambie mwalimu tafadhali mwenzetu ako katika hali ambayo anahitaji msaada wetu tumfanyie vipi? Si ndio? Lakini mwanadada tunataka tukukue watu wa kuzungumza. Kama huna sodo usiombe bodaboda. Kama huna sodo usiombe ule boyfriend. Kama huna sodo usiombe ule mzee mwenye wengine wako na mbabas.
An event that was graced by the Deputy County Commissioner Madam Salim Abdallah saw students advised on the commitment of the national government to fight against, as she urged the youth to abstain from drugs and alcohol abuse, citing the negative socio-economic impact of the vice.
Tumekuja kuongea na nyinyi. Mengi yameongewa na ni yale yale, si ndio? Lakini je, tumejiuliza kwa nini haya maongezi, labda hata mwalimu wenu hapa mliongea vitu vinafanana kama hivi. Kwa nini tunarejelea mambo hayo hayo? Tujiepushe na relationships za mapema, ngono za mapema, madawa ya kulevya. Si mmesikia huu wimbo mmeusikia sana? But kwa nini huwa mnausikia kila wakati? Kwa nini tunachukua jukumu kuwakumbusha kila wakati? Kwa nini? Kwa sababu hatutaki mujiingize kwa hivi vitu. Ndio maana mimi nitaongea, principal ataongea, mwingine atakuja ataongea, aliyetumwa na MP ataongea, kwa sababu tunataka kitu kinapokaririwa ndipo usisahau. Kijaribu kusahau unakumbuka. At least unakumbuka mnenaji mmoja. Kama utakumbuka DCC, kama hautakumbuka DCC utakumbuka kulikuwa na Nerima. Kama utakumbuka Nerima, principal. Kama utakumbuka principal, huyo mwingine wa Maisha TV.
Madam Abdallah urged the students to focus on self-development through education and sports, as it is the only opportunity one can use to gain an equal ground in competitive job market.
So, serikali imefanya mambo mengi sana katika mambo ya elimu. Si tunajua hiyo? A lot of projects. Tulikuwa hapa na mambo ya CBC classroom. I think you have 2 nice classrooms. Maybe 2 or 4 or 3. Mulikuwa phase 1 na phase 2. Hiyo ni serikali kuu ilileta hiyo mradi. Ziko bursaries. Nimesikia ofisi ya MP inapeana bursaries. Iko pesa za Ministry of Education. Zinakuja za infrastructure, zinajenga madarasa. In short, serikali inajali mambo ya elimu. Tunakimbishwa mbio wakati wa January to make sure 100% transition. Watoto wote wamefanya mtihani wa class 8 wameingia form 1. So hiyo inakuambia serikali inaipa elimu kipao mbele. Serikali haitaki wananchi wake wawe wajinga. Tusome wakati tunahitajika kusoma. Haya mambo vile Nerima amewambia hayana mwisho. Babu zetu, mama zetu, kila na bado hata sisi hatumalizi, bado inaendelea. Bado inaendelea, hakuna mwisho. So haina haja ati kuharakisha. Acha ikuje kwa wakati mwafaka. Tuko pamoja, tusijichanganye. Mambo ya drugs, same story. Wakati utajiingiza kwa madawa ya kulevya, ndio tumesikia habari nyingi, story nyingi za kuwa mara nyingi wanafunzi wanavuta bangi ndio wabakie wakuwe alert, wawe macho usiku kucha wakisoma, inawapatia hiyo alertness. Lakini umekaa ukajiuliza madhara kwa mwili wako? Kama unatumia kitu kinafukuza usingizi, unadhani ndani ya mwili kinafanya nini hiyo kitu? Kama imekupotezea usingizi, kuna mambo mingi inafanya ndani ya your internal organs. So acha tu, hata mwili inataka kufanya kazi na kupumzika. So soma wakati wa kusoma, na macho usingizi kikubana lala. Huwezi, na ndio maana tuko na mchana na usiku. Kwa nini Mungu wako amua tukue tu na mchana throughout 24 hours ni mchana, ama tukue na 24 hours yote ni usiku? kwa sababu alijua tunahitaji mchana na pia usiku.
Representative from the office of Bumala Member of Parliament, Madam Stella, reiterated the MP's commitment in ensuring students from Bumala constituency get affordable education.
Wanafunzi wa Mateka, nyinyi huwa mnafanya hivyo kweli? Na tunaomba msifanye hivyo, sababu mkianza tu hivyo mtakuwa mmepotea kabisa kabisa. Mbunge wetu anataka nyinyi msome, analia usiku na mchana, anataka watoto wa Bumula constituency pia waonekane kwa makaseti huko, pia tukue na graduates hapa ndani. Wale wenye wanataja sijui Dr. nani, sijui nani, pia watache wa huku Wekesa, Sifuna, Wanjala, sijui nani. Si mnataka hivyo? Yeye pia mahali penye amekaa anafurahia ndani ya moyo wake kwamba ako na watoto ambao pia wamesoma na wanafanya kazi zile kubwa kubwa. Unajua anasikia uchungu sana wakati amekaa saa hii kwa parliament. Anasikia sijui Chabukorir, sijui Wainaina, sijui nani, lakini kuona Wanyonyi.
She also took the opportunity to advise the students on importance of education and what they stand to get if they focus on their education now and abstain from drug abuse and sex.
Sasa wakati analia nyinyi msome, chukueni vitabu na msome ni kama hamtawahi soma. Huu muda ni wenu wa kusoma. Huu muda ikishapita, wesieni. Sana hao vijana huwa wapotezi, sisi wasichana ndio huwa tunapoteza sana. Mnaona? Sisi maisha yetu ikishaharibika, imeharibika completely. Lakini hawa vijana, hawa wanaendeleanga tu na masomo. Na hakuna siku, hawa vijana hakuna siku watapachika kwamba kuna stamp hapa imepachikwa kwamba alisaa mtoto. Lakini msichana, ukishapata tu pap, area yote imechua fulani yako na mimba. Fulani yako na mimba. Sasa ukipita kwa barabara, watu wako tu hivi juu yako. Watu wako tu hivi juu yako. Hata ukikutuma sokoni wewe hutaki kuenda, umeokopa watakuongelea. Kwa nini uokope na wewe mwenyewe ndio ulienda kuleta?
The school principal, Madam Domitila Nageri, appreciated the Woman for Woman organization, Maisha Television Kenya, office of the Member of Parliament, and all the stakeholders who graced the event, saying the school was humbled by the thoughtful event as it impacted the students with life skill lessons and girls benefited from the pads distribution.
Nataka tuseme asante kwa mheshimiwa kwa kutukubalia. Kituona hapa hivi, kuna mama hapa, wa mama wa nguvu. Walienda shuleni, tulienda shuleni. Tulienda shuleni na tukasoma. Na ndio sababu tuko hapa. Warembo wangu, mjikaze hata nyinyi mfike mbele, si ndio?
For Maisha Prime, Maisha Television, I'm Rida Kering Chebet.
Did you know you have a right to information?
Join me here on Maisha Prime News.
Join me every Saturday and Sunday on Maisha Prime Weekend.
Join me every day on Maisha Prime News as I bring you the segment My Hustle, My Story.
As we focus on current affairs, issues on political, social and economic arena.
Where we bring you incisive and authoritative news.
At Maisha TV, we make it easier for you to access information.
At exactly 8 p.m. East African time, join me, Rida Kering.
My name is Millicent Makoha.
My name is Brian Gunn.
Did you know you have a right to information?
Join me here on Maisha Prime News.
Join me every Saturday and Sunday on Maisha Prime Weekend.
Join me every day on Maisha Prime News as I bring you the segment My Hustle, My Story.
as we focus on current affairs issues on political, social and economic arena.
Where we bring you incisive and authoritative news.
At Maisha TV, we make it easier for you to access information.
At exactly 8 p.m. East African time, join me, reader Kerin Chebet.
My name is Millicent Makoha.
My name is Brian Gunn.
And Nandi County has approved a budget of 9 million Kenya shillings for the 2023-2024 financial year. In the allocation and appropriations, a huge amount of money has been slotted for agricultural projects, health, education and